Hello and welcome everyone to our channel. So today we are going to start with a new series covering holistically the topics covered in syllabus provided by the UPSC. Let me briefly tell you about the series. The series I am going to start will cover holistically the all the topics of UPSC syllabus from the prism of prelims and also from the prism of mains. The possible questions, practice questions will be provided in the end of the topic, and short snippet notes will be provided you on the screen. You can write it down and jot it down in your notes, and also listen to me carefully for the concept clarity and further connectivity in your topics. So believe me, this uh, coverage of series is not only holistic but comprehensive too. So listen the concepts, and whatever I am going to explain very carefully, so that you could be able to draw connections and also attempt more questions in your prelims or mains. So I'll be clearing all your basic concepts from basic to advanced level. So today we are going to start from polity topic 1. This topic is in coverage series of both history and polity, because this is an important topic which uh, was covered in history too, but it is also important from polity basics, as it is provided in your syllabus booklet. So take out your syllabus, tick out the first topic, historical underpinning and evolution. So let's get started without wasting any time. The first topic is Regulating Act of 1773. But before starting Regulating Act, we must know the historical background of initiating these acts. As we know that British encroachment in Indian affairs started from 1765 in the name of Diwani rights, which they had got after in the victory of Battle of Buxar. But post this battle, the East India Company, on the top of being a trader, became an administrative body. The British government passed various acts, initially to regulate the company and later to establish the British governance in India. However, none of these met Indian expectations, mainly because they were brought by foreign power and they were not too friendly with Indian concepts or setup. All the constitutional developments prior to independence were imposed upon Indians, and there was no Indian opinion asked and was forcibly dropped to the Indian subjects. So, the foremost important thing is that you need to write it down simultaneously in your notebooks, that there was two rule. First, from phase 1773 to 1947, the first phase under this was from 1773 to 1858, which was company rule, followed by the direct rule of the crown, which was lasted till 1750, from 1758 to 1947. Various constitutional and administrative changes were introduced by the British throughout these acts. Although they were brought with the objective of serving British imperial ideology, they eventually became responsible for introducing democracy and modern state into the Indian political system and administrative system. So here comes your mains question, that how these historical acts or how these acts were significant in imparting elements of democracy and modern state into the Indian political and administrative system. I hope you have noted down the mains question. Rewind the video and noted down the mains question. For the background of Regulating Act, we need to understand first the causes. So the act was passed due to following reasons. First reason was financial distress. The company was expected to pay £40,000 £40,000 annually to the British government in lieu of their monopoly, which the Queen granted to the company. Company wanted to trade in the East, and trade in the East was very profitable. So the company always wanted to get a sole monopoly right to trade in the East, which they got from the Queen in lieu of the £40,000 annually to be paid from the Indian revenues. But the major case we see here is that the company faced financial distress. The company was not able to pay the amount to the British government, and they were unable to meet their commitments since 1768, and in 1772 the company had asked for a loan of £1 million from the British government. So the British government decided to regulate the affairs of the company. So the company allegedly blamed the the British government allegedly blamed the company for their inefficient dual system. The dual system, which was introduced by Robert Clive after the victory of British in Battle of Buxar in 1764, and in the dual system the Nawab of Bengal and the Nizamat rights, that is the judicial and political rights, and the company possessed the Diwani right over revenue, but neither the Nawab nor the company officials were taking active interest in administration, जिसकी वजह से farmers and general population suffered as their welfare was getting neglected. So the first important step was the financial distress, due to which the company could not pay the wholesome amount of annual revenue to the British government. Second, the inefficient dual system not only impacted the British counterparts administering in India, but also the Nawab ruling under British under East India Company could not able to cope up with the financial problems of the time. The third cause was the poor administration, as there were many allegations of corruption and nepotism against the company officials. The misadministration of Bengal was only one of the major reasons for the Great Bengal Famine in 1770. Also during the famine, the company did not take a meaningful mitigation efforts to provide relief to the people, like reduction in taxation during the famine. And there was huge population which was getting perished. The company forces were also defeated by Hyder Ali in First Anglo-Mysore Wars. This also became a possible reason for passing Regulating Act. But in prelims, what you can get the question is that what were the provisions of the act. They may alter the options and ask you about the provisions of the act, comparing other charter acts and Pitt's India Act. So the first provision was that act changed the designation of the governor of Bengal, governor of Bengal, to the GG of Bengal, Governor General of Bengal, and Warren Hastings was appointed as the first Governor General of Bengal. And the council consisted of 4 members to assist the Governor General. The centralization was started by this time, and this was the first act to introduce centralization of administration in India, where the governors of other 2 presidencies, that is Bombay and Madras presidencies. As you know that there were 3 presidencies in British India: Bengal, Bombay and Madras. So each presidencies had their governor, but Governor of Bengal was designated as Governor General of Bengal, means the post was promoted from governor to governor general, and other two presidencies, governor of other two presidencies, were made subordinate to the governor general of Bengal, and they were merely governors of Bombay and Madras. The autonomy of governor of Bombay and Madras was diminished, so this was the major problem. Supreme Court in Calcutta was established, but this was not the true Supreme Court, which was established later on, comprising one Chief Justice, and there were three other judges with original and appellate jurisdiction, civil and criminal jurisdiction over the British subjects, and not on Indian natives. So this court was established mainly for British subjects and not for resolving conflicts for Indian natives. Restriction on private trade. The act barred the officials of the company from engaging in private commerce or receiving bribes and gifts from the native population. It also mandated, fourth point, that company's governing body, the court of directors, disclose all its official affairs to the British government, including revenue, civil and military matters. So this was the provision. Coming on to the significance. Regulation of company affairs. It was the first step by the British Parliament to regulate and control the affairs of the East India Company, as I have told, that due to not paying outstanding loan from the company to the British government, which was annually charged to the British company in lieu of their monopoly to trade in the East. Okay, so the British government sitting in Britain decided to get a hand over the company's affairs, as they were drowned in corruption. They were not paying outstanding loan to the government. So regulation of the company affairs became the first and foremost matters by the British. Second, centralized administration. It laid down the foundation of centralized administration in India by making governors of Bombay and Madras presidency subordinate to the Governor General of Bengal. Official recognition. First time ever, the political and administrative functions of the company in India were officially recognized. The one thing I would like to tell you guys, that the topics I am picking, like I have picked the Regulating Act first, I am covering every dimension of this topic, which can be interlinked, asked in interlinkage with the concepts. So I will cover each and every dimension of every topic also. Let me tell you. So coming to the issues with Act, Governor General didn't have any veto power, so there was problem of veto power in the Executive Council. Second, powers of the Supreme Court were ill defined. So Supreme Court did not have proper jurisdiction, and often jurisdiction of Governor General and jurisdiction of Supreme Court was conflicted. Third was lack of coordination. Governors of Madras and Bombay restrained themselves from following the orders of Governor General of Bengal, whose biggest example was the First Anglo-Maratha War, that was from 1775 to 1782. There was no mechanism to study the reports sent by the Governor General in Council, so the system or setup turned out to be ineffective. Thus, the parliamentary control that was sought in the activities of the company proved to be ineffective. The Act was also unable to stop corruption among company officials. So this was the setback of the act due to which the another act was passed. So this is very important for you all to remember that each act has its own setback, and due to the setbacks of each act, the next act was proposed. So I have holistically covered all the dimensions of the regulating act. This is prelims PYQ question. I would like you to answer the question in the comment box, and in the next video I'll possibly take one of your comments and take one of your names in the next video. And stay tuned for further video. Also, do not forget to like, share and subscribe. Thank you all. See you soon in the next video. Till then, revise it and practice the possible questions.